In the meantime, two other ex-members of Deep Purple, John Lord and Ian Pace, had approached an old friend of theirs, keyboard player Tony Ashton, with the idea of starting a new band.
Pacey and I suppose over too many beers in a pub, had decided that a nice big band rock thing would be, you know, a la Mad Dogs and Englishmen, that would be great. And Tony Ashton was then a close friend.
John, I think, put it to me, what do you think if Deep Purple did split, about what do you think about forming a band? And so, well, no, I don't honestly think it's going to work, because we're both keyboard players and I'm not a front man, really. I couldn't compete with the Gillans and Davids of this world, cover note. So I put it on the sort of back burner, and I think John kept on, and that, by this time I was getting a bit skint, I think. But I was hitting the bottle quite hard, and I don't know, I thought, all right, I'll give it a shot, you know. That was Pace Ashton Lord.
He started drinking because he was nervous, and ended up nervous because he was drinking, so it's... But then he stopped drinking entirely and got even worse.
Pace, Ashton and Lord did not last long. At a prestigious London concert in the Rainbow Theatre, Tony Ashton fell off the stage into the orchestra pit. Shortly after, the band broke up.
It wasn't his fault. We took him out of his area of expertise and trying to make him something he wasn't, which was a shame.
Another more successful offshoot of Deep Purple was the group Whitesnake, brainchild of singer David Coverdale. In the late 70s, hard rock was out of critical favour and punk was in. But Coverdale discovered on his first tour that there was still an enthusiastic audience for his type of music.
I booked what was called a Back to the Roots tour, because I didn't think I had any choice. So we booked all, you know, these little clubs and stuff, and there were more people outside than inside.
We played places, Wolverhampton, the Lafayette Club, which, you know, loads of musicians will know about, and David went out and punched his hand in the air and said good evening and put his hand through the ceiling, you know, things like that. So that's how small these places were.
It was tough, because all the people I was working with were expecting, you know, the sun to shine out of my superstar arse, which it wasn't. Nobody was backing me. The Purple management didn't have a clue what to do.
From this difficult beginning, Coverdale began to put together a successful lineup. He recruited ex-Purple colleague John Lord.
I formed this band, and we need a keyboard player. No, I'm sorry. I've given it up, David. I'm just gonna write. And phone call after phone call after phone call. You know, please come out and play. You know.
John joined Whitesnake. The Deep Purple connection was made stronger when Ian Pace arrived on drums.
It was his band. Even with John and I in the band, it was his band. It wasn't like all of a sudden Deep Purple again.
David had very, very much changed since he auditioned for Purple in 1973. He was very much more sure of himself, and he was reinventing himself as in front of our eyes, you know.
As David Coverdale and Whitesnake became more successful, a rivalry developed between the band and Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow.
If they can get to number 6, we'll try and get to 5. We can sell out the Hammersmith Odeon quicker than they can, or whatever. There was a lot of that going down, and I think David loved it because, you know, he knew it was getting up Ritchie's nose.
This rivalry came to a head in Munich after a Rainbow concert.
The promoter made the enormous mistake of inviting me backstage. I said, are you sure it's okay? Because there'd been bad blood between Ricardo and I for some time.
I got a call from Cozy saying, look, something's happened tonight, it's nothing to do with me, you know, it's between them. If they want to play kids, that's up to them.
Small corridor and it's packed, and suddenly I went, I know that smell. And the next thing, he grabbed the back of my neck and the hair or whatever. He's going, you can get out. Fortunately, I got a swing round and stuff, and everybody It was like, oh, no, what do we do? Interfere with Richie Blackmore and David Coverdale having a fight?
Another ex-Purple vocalist, Ian Gillan, had had mixed fortune since leaving the group. After the demise of the Ian Gillan Band in the late 70s, he formed a new group, this time simply called Gillan, teaming up with his old Episode 6 colleague, Mick Underwood. The band were just on the verge of UK success.
Everything was right at the right time. The chemistry of the band was correct. The time was right for that chemistry to work. It was looking good.
We had a great tour. We'd finished the album. I couldn't get a record deal anywhere.
The band eventually got a deal with a small record label, Acrobat.
So they put the album out, and it went to number 12 in the first week. And then I got a phone call from Phil, the manager, said, got some bad news for you. Acrobat's just gone bankrupt, and they haven't paid their bills at CBS or something like that, and they won't press any more records. And so the album's disappeared out of the charts.
The album was such a success so quickly, they couldn't cope with it, and they actually didn't exist anymore.
We actually signed with Virgin then, and had 3 number-1 albums after that.
Living wild and fueling my own desires. I was a wild man, drinking, smoking, messing around with women. Lots of women, no, not swimming. Women. I wanna go to heaven. Place to be is right up there. I wanna go to heaven.
The success enjoyed by the Gillan Band in the end caused their downfall. The reason was a falling out over money.
I got fed up with the rest of the guys moaning and groaning about too much touring, moaning and bitching every time there was a check late, because we were brassic, moaning and insinuating that the books were being fiddled.
I found it particularly difficult with Ian because of, I guess, our relationship, really. I mean, we went back such a long way. To be honest with you, if it had been in any other band that I joined that was successful like that, I would have insisted on contracts and all sorts of things written down.
Sad, really, because Mick Underwood was a good old friend of mine. I always got on with Mick in Hounslow. We did have a little disagreement.
Ian's next career move came as a surprise to most people. He joined Black Sabbath, one of the founding bands of heavy metal.
We met Ian in the Bear in bloody Oxford, and that was it. I don't even really remember us getting together. We just sort of got drunk and were there all day in the pub, and then we were a band.
I had a phone call from Phil the next day saying, you know, Ian, if you're going to make major career moves, I think we should discuss things first, you know, because I said, what are you talking about? He said, Black Sabbath. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, apparently yesterday you agreed to join Black Sabbath for a year.
Ian Gillan enjoyed his time in Sabbath, but had trouble learning some of their lyrics.
And I bought one of these display books with plastic pages, and I had all the lyrics written out, and I practiced on the kitchen floor turning the page with my foot.
Have you got those lyrics yet? Oh, I've almost got them. I've nearly got them now. And he'd have the lyrics on the front of the thing, all bits of paper everywhere and lyrics. But he just couldn't remember them.
Ian had the lyrics written out at the front of the stage, but was not aware that Black Sabbath used large amounts of dry ice in their stage show.
There was this chest-high wall of dry ice that was just billowing through the band, and it was heading for the front of the stage, and I suddenly thought, oh, God, I can't remember the first line of the first song. Now, I'd had 2 wedges, bare monitors, put on the front. I never use them normally. I hadn't put on the front of the stage, concealing my book, which was open at the first song. And I'm now racing to the front of the stage to try and beat this cloud of smoke, and it just sort of swamped over the book. And there's literally a bar and a half to go or something.